The UAE's biggest and closest neighbour is Saudi Arabia, and at the moment we're getting a lot of questions from companies and clients about what's happening there and how to take advantage of some of the things that are happening in the kingdom. So we thought it was a good time to talk about it here on our video blog and tell you a little bit about some of the things that we're seeing. This is being driven by a plan called the 2030 Vision, which, as the name suggests, stretches for the next 12 years and is really a country, society-wide plan to modernize Saudi Arabia across society, culture, business, and pretty much all parts of life there. This is being driven by Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who's a very ambitious um, man who you'll see around in the world for the next month or so. He's doing visits to London this week, I think to Paris, and then to America at the end of the month, really bringing Saudi to the world. So the 2030 vision is all around opening Saudi up and making it accessible for the outside world, but really for Saudis themselves. And moving on from sort of previous ways of life there, which were, from a business perspective, were very much government focused, were very much oil and gas focused, and bringing in other sectors. The entity at the centre of that part is called SAGIA, the Saudi Arabia General Investment Authority, who are charged with bringing in investment from the rest of the world to set up in Saudi, to bring money into Saudi, but really to bring jobs, content, IP, and the best of skills and knowledge and technical transfer into Saudi. A good example of where this is happening is in the entertainment sector, where this is really almost an absent sector currently in Saudi, but very soon it's going to be central to life. Saudi has ambitious plans around quality of life. I think something like 80% of Saudis go to the cinema when they travel overseas, because there are no cinema screens currently in Saudi Arabia. That's changing, however, that there's plans for there to be almost 2,000 by 2030. But there's a whole industry now around that has to be created. The cinemas don't happen overnight. You need to work out things around censorship, around what happens at prayer time and things. So it's a very fast moving an interesting place to be at the moment. And in sectors like entertainment, that's where you really see it, because there's not been anything before. The challenge, I think, for international business is an interesting one, and it is very much around investing in Saudi and being in Saudi and bringing your company and your IP and your knowledge and your skills to Saudi Arabia. Local content is key. So whilst there will undoubtedly be trade opportunities and demand for certain goods and products and services, the long-term vision and the vision very much that's being underpinned by SAGIA and being driven by SAGIA is to encourage and attract foreign companies to come and invest in Saudi. And SAGIA is making that a much easier prospect than it was before, with streamlined approach, with lower costs, with an account management system that makes it much easier to get the approvals and things that you need. I think one of the other interesting questions is coming up from sitting here in the UAE is, what does that mean for the likes of Dubai and Abu Dhabi and even Bahrain, that have previously been sort of local hubs and proxy plays for Saudi in the region? And maybe again you can acquaint that with Hong Kong and China. Hong Kong hasn't declined since China's come into the global economy in the last 20 to 30 years. And I think it's Dubai and Abu Dhabi have that opportunity as well to stay relevant as a approximate place, perhaps having had first mover advantage. Service industries, for example, some of the financial sectors that are in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Bahrain won't be easily replicated. But elements like manufacturing and production, certainly on a large scale, that perhaps is more suited to Saudi Arabia, and aren't really areas where the UAE is necessarily so strong. So I think you will see a complementary regional approach emerge, where Saudi, the UAE, Bahrain, other countries all find their own niche, and are able to sort of work in their verticals accordingly without competing for FDI and competing for business and investment. What are we doing about it here in Dubai? Well, we're working closely with the Saudi authorities, with SAGIA, and it still remains the best launchpad into Saudi Arabia to be here in the UAE first, to get your regional business plan sorted, to start making inroads, and then jumping in from here. It's only an hour flight as much as anything, in up to the eastern province, a bit longer into Riyadh. So I think certainly for the time being, coming and starting in the UAE before attacking before attacking your business plan into Saudi Arabia is probably the best way forward.